What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, party people? Zooming from parts unknown and from the Murder Nap Studios here in Southern Indiana. It's going to get weird. It's the podcast. He's Frank Green. I'm Scott Clark. You want to reach us, it's going to get weird 369 at Gmail. You can also at Get Weird PC on Twitter. Now available on Facebook. I can't even read my own handwriting. And also available
that's Apple, show prep.
It really is. And Apple Podcasts and at Spotify.
And Google Play and everywhere else.
Google Play, apparently, a lot of stuff I found out that we're available on that I didn't even know we were available on. Like us, comment, subscribe, share, listen, because you know it's always going to get weird. How are you, Frank?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling pretty good. What about you?
Bad. Actually, had a shit day. I thought you guys were messing with me. We'll talk about that later. But
I had a shit day too. But there's nothing I can do about it.
What are you?
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna dwell on it. I'm just having a good time, having some laughs earlier, and I was like, this is too good of a night to ruin. So
I like that too, man. And from 38 bands or 38 Battle of the Bands, Jefferson Tarkbus, touring bassist with Billy Ray Cyrus and fronting America's AC/DC. From Thunderstruck, it's Dave Moody.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you guys doing? Good to see you all.
Man,
good to see everybody healthy and happy. Healthy and happy and in a good spot. I like that.
Where are you? In Ted Kaczynski's little hut?
Yes. I'm burying bodies. You all interrupted all of that, and I'm in the middle of that, and that's okay though. I got time,
Okay.
I'm good.
Can you see what he's got behind him on his left shoulder, Frank?
Yeah, I know what that is. I see. But I also see, what is it called? Heinz 57 Stadium or whatever that's called behind him.
Technically, it's the ketchup
Field?
bottle. It's the ketchup bottle.
Okay, it's the bottle. Is it still called Heinz Field?
It is.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And you got to play there once, didn't you?
I played there a lot. I've been playing there since 2009. Yeah, the first time that I played there was 2009 with Billy Ray,
wow.
And then from then on, I've been playing there since like 2009.
Dude, it's got to be a dream to be a Steelers fan like you are, and to be able to do that and connect with a whole kind of city and culture, and that you get on so well. That must be cool.
It was very, very cool. The first thing that got my buddy John Waterick, who is like Mr. Rooney's right-hand man, the first thing he said to me is he come up to me and we was sitting up for Billy. We were sitting up inside the stadium, which our good friend Kevin McCreary, God rest his soul, sent me some funny pictures giving the finger to the Steelers. The Steelers logo. Yeah. God bless him. Anyway. But he come up to me, John did, and said, I'm responsible for your happiness today. What would you like to do? Well, if you was a Cardinal fan, we're all both Cardinal fans, I'm sure that you'd like to go meet Denny Crum, or you'd like to go walk on the court, or you'd like to see the championship trophies or hold them. Well, it was the same thing with the Steelers. He let me do everything I ever wanted to do. I got to meet Mr. Rooney, got to walk through the offices, got to walk on the field, the whole deal. And they're just you get told that they're like the kindest, most awesome organization in the NFL, and that is true. They're the nicest people. Yeah.
I've been lucky enough with working with U of L, and I have met Denny Crum. I did a radio show with him. I'm not going to go into all that, but I tell you, when I work with U of L, I've done probably 10, 15 pro stadiums. And my favorite of all time is Heinz Field. And when if you drive in there, and I'm sure you have, you go through, it's West Virginia, it's coal mine, pawn shop, former oil rig. And then you go through that tunnel and you break out on the others. Yeah, you break it on the other side and boom, there's Pittsburgh. And there's the stadium. And the yellow bridges.
What a view when you come in, that view coming out of that tunnel is just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. And then to the left is the stadium, and then to the right is the PNC Park, and then you got the big, just beautiful, beautiful buildings. And like I said, I've been blessed to be able to do everything that I've ever wanted to do there. I'll tell you how nice those folks are. And this is not to I just want to express how kind these people are. This is not to drop shit, but
Right.
we played the stadium, and they found out that I was a big Pittsburgh Pirate fan as well. And Mr. Rooney said, "Well, we're not going to the game tomorrow. Why don't you take our suite?" And we got the Steelers suite for the Pirate game the next day against the Brewers. And and I had already stopped drinking. They had a stock full bar of shit. I had quit drinking though. I was like, really?
Y'all got some
but it was wonderful. They're just really, really kind people.
They're so nice. They give you 7 ketchup packets.
Yeah. And with the exception McDonald's, where they don't give you any. Yeah, so they gave me 7.
I'll tell you another thing about when you do a college game. When I was, again, working for U of L, and we were doing the radio broadcast up in the booth, they put all the press right in the middle, and then they put the TV guy right next to them, and they take the radio crew, and they put them all the way by the riverside. So we're literally on the goal line. We're like, what's happening on the other side of the field? No one could tell. We're like, somebody get binoculars out. Look at the replay. And now I'll tell you something else. I got to go walk through that stadium. What a gorgeous stadium. What a gorgeous city. That field after high school football is so torn up. You can't see it on TV because they paint it green. I couldn't imagine getting tackled on that field because it's rock fucking hard.
Yeah, it looks like it hurts. It looks like it would hurt.
It does hurt. Well, let me ask you the first question I said I was going to ask you, and I've got one, and I hope Frank has one. And if not, I've got a couple. What's the funniest shit you saw this week? I don't care if it's social media, something you saw walking down the street. What's the funniest shit you saw this week?
My goodness. Let me think about that. I hate to be a bummer. Let's see.
I told you this was going to be the first question.
We was in Buffalo, New York, and there was a band playing down the street called Anal Pudding. I'm not kidding. Anal. And
what were they good?
I can't make this shit up. And I was like,
were they any
you
good?
guys are great. And they were great. And they were dressed up in all these outfits, and they had a giant toilet on stage. And it was great. It was great. I watched them while I ate my lunch. Anal Pudding.
Who opened up Date Rape?
Oh, everybody has problems with those guys, though.
You can't trust that.
Yeah, nobody wants to tour with those guys.
Don't let them buy you a drink. That's for sure.
For real.
So, the funniest thing I saw was Anal Pudding.
Oh my God.
Frank, did you have something funny that happened to you this week?
It's been all funny, every bit of it, every
Give
day.
me one.
Every day. I mean, I can't. That's the thing about it is it's been a constant, literally almost for a whole week of just watching one show and just going back and watching again, and be like, God damn! I've been watching what we do in the shadows. It's a
vampire show,
yeah, but it's done in the style of The Office, and it's hilarious. I mean, I can't. I mean, I've laughed literally all week, all day. If I go and sit on the couch to watch TV, I'm like, man, I got to watch this again. It's too good. It's impossible to wear out on it, and it makes me laugh. So
I've got to watch this show. So somebody that has a Hulu password, send it to It's Gonna Get Weird 369@gmail.com because it's on Hulu, right? Because you can't get them.
It is, and it's just like The Office. I mean, it is just like it's just in a vampire theme. It's so dumb.
Now, this is going to be a little weird. That's the name of the show. It's going to get weird.
I don't like vampire stuff. I'm not that weird guy who likes vampire stuff and owns swords. You know the guy who owns swords that you know and grow up with? Everywhere you look in his living room and there's 2 giant like Ginsu swords or whatever, samurai swords crossed on his living room. You're like, oh, it's one of those dudes. And then you go to his, like his actual bedroom and there's a fan behind the 2 swords over his bed.
I don't mind saying this, and I know
every room there's swords crossed.
I don't think Dave's going to mind, and I know the guy I'm getting ready to talk about is not going to mind, and I know Dave knows this because he's been to his house too. But back when our friend Dwight Whitten was a bachelor and lived over off of Dixie, he had 2 swords and 2 shotguns crisscrossed over his headboard.
He had all the boxes checked. It's like, yes!
Gun under his bed. I was like, who do you think's going to come get you? Nosferatu?
Hey, man, when you're in Beirut, it's what we do.
That's what you do. Now, here's the funniest thing that happened to me this week, or I've heard this week. A good friend of mine, he's a customer, but he's also become a friend of mine, and we hang out a lot. and he's been sober for 20 years at this point. He owns, let's just say he owns a bar. We'll leave it at that. So I don't really like to get into specifics when I do a podcast about certain people's names, even though I just threw out Dwight Witten's name. I saw him a couple weeks ago, and he kind of had a little shake. And I thought maybe his sugar was low or something. And I was like, hey, what's up with the shakes? He's like, the sugars. I got the sugars. It got me pregnant. So I saw it, and I kind of, he's a friend of mine. I was like, hey, man, everything all right? He's like, man, I really don't know. I'm going to go to a neurologist. And it's like, all right. So I saw him, and he's told this publicly, even though I'm still not going to say his name. He said, I went to the doctor, and he said, it is now public consumption, but at the time it was not. And he showed me the piece of paper, and it said Parkinson's. And I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, damn. Yeah, exactly. I mean, terrible.
That's hilarious, Scott. Thanks for bringing that to the table. God damn, what's the funniest shit you've seen all week? Well,
is that the funniest shit you've seen all week?
My friend got Parkinson's.
Yeah, he got the shakes real bad.
So I said, Jesus Christ, man,
man, you're killing me.
I felt bad, and I was like, God damn, you've been sober for this. He goes, yeah, I called my brother the other day, and I said, I quit drinking and smoking crack to get Parkinson's. And I was like, that's the way you handle Parkinson's. And I'm not. Yeah. You were going to say something, Frank?
How old of a guy is he?
He just turned 50. He's a year older than me and a year younger than you. And he's really good guy. He's taking it in stride. He's like, I'm going to go ahead and sell the motorcycles. That's going to be a thing. But that son of a bitch is out in Vail, Colorado this weekend, snowboard. He's like, I'm going to do everything. So at some point, I'm going to have to stop doing all these things. So I'm fucking doing all of it. And I was like, does that mean smoking crack? He's like, maybe. That's why it was the funniest shit I saw this week.
You know what? You got a long lead up sometimes. So, he might want to, he's 50. If he's not, you may not want to tempt that goat, any closer to 60 than he has to.
I started that joke about 6 months ago before he got Parkinson's. Talk about a long lead in.
Well, we have a common friend we talked about who was having some substance issues, me and you, Scott. Yeah. And we had this conversation like, yeah, you're not 30 anymore. This guy, it's like, you might want to, you're in your mid 50s. The next one might be your last one for real. So let's think about this way.
All right. Something I've been always wanting to ask you, and I think Frank and Dave and I, again, Dave Moody from Thunderstruck joining us. I've known you for a long time. I don't know how you got the middle nickname Hall, Dave Hall Moody. Where did Hall come from?
You'll know it the minute I tell you. It's a Jerry Clower thing.
Oh yeah, because you're from bullockcounty.edu.
Yeah, it's a Jerry. Because I used to say it all the time,
Jerry.
But somebody would tell a joke, and I'd go, oh. And I'd just start laughing, and it was just that Jerry Clower thing that would kill me. And I said, "Damn, dude, and they go, man, that's your middle name." Whenever I got on the tour bus with Billy, that's what they said. Your middle name's Hall. Hall. So that's what it is, Jerry Clower. I stay true to my roots, man.
I love it. I love it. And before we go any further into this, I always like to give our guests in the beginning and the end. Would you like to promote anything, whether it's your next gig? I mean, we already talked about Thunderstruck. We'll get into that. You have Twitter, your website. What would you like to promote with what you're doing right now, my man?
Just our Thunderstruck page would be fine. Thunderstruck America's AC/DC on Facebook. And then it's also on Instagram. And if you could go and give us a like or a follow, we'd really appreciate it. Come out to a show and have a good time.
And make sure you tweet this and make sure you put this on your website. We'd appreciate that as well. Right,
exactly, yes. All of the above.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you this about Thunderstruck and America's AC/DC, which I love. I've known you for a long time. I was surprised. I'm not surprised at your musicianship at all because I've known you that long. I was surprised about the Billy Ray Cyrus. We'll get into that. How the hell did you get to be the lead singer of an AC/DC tribute band? Well,
it's a funny story. I had just gotten sober in 2015 when Kevin Feller called me, and he started the band back in probably 2010. and they'd been kicking around Louisville for about 5 years trying to do this, that, and the other. And they had a phenomenal guitar player. He was a little bit of a chubby Angus, but he was just great. And
good.
Yeah, he was great. And God rest his soul, Alan passed away. But and then they had Justin and Chris, and I think Bobby Stamper was singing for them at the time, and they were just kind of just in clubs, and doing this, that, and the other. When Bobby decided that it just wasn't for him anymore, he had found religion, he didn't want to do it anymore. So he called me up and he says, "Hey, I've seen you sing some AC/DC. Would you be interested in coming over and just giving it a go?" And I thought nothing of it. I was like, man, it would be just fun to go in and scream some AC/DC because I love it.
Yeah.
So we got it right. We got in the room, and their attention to detail of the song structures and the way that they used the exact instruments and the way their guitars sounded and the tones and just the way they did everything was, I saw it. I mean, It was like a light hit me. I went, holy shit, this is real.
This is good.
And I was just shocked by it. I was just like, oh my God, this is a really good product. And everybody loves AC/DC. But unfortunately for them, they didn't have the ability, or they didn't know anybody, had zero connections or anything.
The networking, that comes with experience.
Correct. And they didn't have that. And I did. So what I did was, I knew what they had, and I told them, I said, listen, if I'm to join, I do all the business, I take care of all the booking, I do all the promotions, I do all this, and they were like, have at it, just run with it.
My man.
So the next thing I got us an agent out of LA. And he started booking us one date at a time. And the next thing you know, one thing turns into the next thing and into the next thing. And now we're up to about 120 shows a year, and we're traveling all over the United States. And it's a big production. And we just pray and stay humble, man. We're just thankful for what we have and grateful for every show that we get. Anytime we get to walk on the deck and turn the amps on, we're happy. So,
and get paid.
And get paid well.
And pay. I mean, and let's look on the really practical side of it. Man, you just get to do what you love, and you get to make a living doing it. It might not be, Rihanna status, but what in the fuck is? I mean, but there's something to be said to doing what you love and being able to live comfortably. That to me that's everything.
It really is.
And it's funny it's funny that you mentioned that, Frank, because Frank's done a tribute. I'm in a tribute band, and we're actually getting back together. Not going to mention that right now. But does it bother you at all when someone goes, "Oh, you're just a tribute band," or "It's just a tribute"? Do you ever hear that, or does it bother you at all? Or if so, what's your response?
My bank account don't give a shit.
But man, I don't see.
LG&E never called me and asked me if I was playing a Dave Moody song or an AC/DC song. So, I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm comfortable with it. Listen, man. I got in this business to play music for a living, and I'm doing just that. And irregardless if I'm playing one of my songs or somebody else's, doesn't really faze me at all. It's how much joy and love and happiness I can bring to people and make them forget about their stuff for a while and just enjoy their day and just try to be an ambassador for rock and roll. That's the only thing that I know how to do well. I can't dig a ditch, and I can't operate a shovel, and I can't build a house, but I can scream AC/DC for like 3 hours, and hopefully you enjoy it. So if somebody says I'm just a tribute singer, I'm down with that.
I mean, here's the thing: if people don't say that to like a band like yours, who is at heart a tribute thing, but it's not that. Mm-hmm. People say that shit to about bad tribute bands. When they see a good tribute band or a dedication band or whatever you call it, people go, fuck yeah, those guys are great. Like when I saw a terrible Sabbath tribute band once, and I was like, oh my God. Right. And here recently I saw a band, I think they're out of New York or New Jersey, and they're just like all over this weekend their videos flooded everybody's timeline. It's like these regular looking guys working like on a assembly line kind of dudes, and they're just killing Black Sabbath. But they're not with the whole thing. They're just standing in their lane. They're just loving what they're doing, and it's like all of a sudden everybody went. Whoop. If you're good, people care, and people will not say shit crazy. You know, being good silences a lot of fucking people.
Yeah, the thing about it is
everything you've done, you've managed to do that, and that's much kudos, much admiration,
my man.
Thank
no,
you.
you don't do shit. You don't do shit halfway.
No, I don't know. I don't know that.
No, I've seen a couple Jefferson Tark Bus shows where the guy broke his fist through a window of a car.
Hey,
a daily
I can
driver.
tell you this: if I was drunk, I was all the way drunk, so I didn't do it half-assed.
100%, I agree with that.
There's that. I go for it. But
as a daily driver, that vehicle was great.
Right.
It was a great daily driver.
It was a beater, but it got him from point A to point B.
I'm not saying it was a beater. I'm saying it was a good daily driver. I love it.
Yeah, well, thank you. And like I said, the thing about how I approach things is just if you're going to do it at 110%. Go for it and mean it. And running up the flagpole and see who salutes it and all that good stuff.
See if the spaghetti sticks to the flagpole.
Yeah, man. Hopefully people dig it, and thank God they did. I'm just as shocked as anybody that. Not really shocked, but I'm thankful that people dig it. Yeah. So we're really, really fortunate, and thank you, boys, for the kind words. I really appreciate it.
Frank and I talked. Thank you, and you're welcome. Absolutely, man. Nobody loves you more than I'm sure Mary does, but. One thing Frank and I were talking to our friend Jesse Vest about last week is, this is
love Jesse. What about his new stuff, man?
Blitzkrieg, dude. Make sure y'all check out episode 13 with Jesse Vest. It's gonna get weird.
Hey, did you know that he was in Days of the New and Tantric?
I did not.
Oh, if you listen to the story,
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it now.
It's crazy. I just found that out last week.
But we had a conversation about it. It's not a young man's game, and some people don't like. Frank's really not interested in going out and touring. I'm not interested in going out and touring. I like playing shows here and there, and so does Frank. We know, but we respect 100% of what you do. But listen, you guys are as we all are, of a certain age. How is it at your all's age? Touring the way that you tour different from the way you would have done it in your 20s.
Now let's be clear. We're all in our late 30s, right?
I think I might be the youngest person on the podcast.
I'm sorry.
I told the guys when we got the band, I said this is going to be a steady progress, and we're gonna graduate to different levels. When we first started, we had a van and like a rider truck that we would drive around with the rigs, right? But then we graduated to a bigger van and a bigger rider truck. And now we got a bus. Yeah, now we got a bus and a trailer, and now we ride around very comfortably with bunks and lounges and all that good stuff, and we're very, very comfortable. We sleep in great accommodations. So travel and accommodations are 5-star to us right now, and we're very thankful for that. But we worked for it. And now we're in a situation to where maybe in a couple of years we get a Prevost. And if we get that, that'll come along with time. Right? It's all a process. But from you all know, from showing up like a bunch of hillbillies with all your gear in the back of every one of your cars and then throwing it up on stage, to doing what we do, it's a process. And my guys bought all the way in. And,
hold on, did you call us hillbillies? Did you call us hillbillies?
Yeah. And secondly, we actually had a conversion van with a trailer 25 years ago.
He's like, as you guys know,
thanks to Billy Masterson's credit card, we had a nice setup.
We've all been there. We've all loaded in at the Toy Tiger. I loaded out of the Toy Tiger at 3 a.m.
Oh shit! While you're doing that,
out of a hatchback. Into a hatchback. I mean, the whole concept of this, the whole concept of you kind of just, did you just zoom out on or zoom in on this and just go, okay, did it bug you not having a guitar around you?
Yes.
I bet it did.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Naked.
I mean,
You're naked.
I still do. I still do. Sometimes at sound check, I'll tell the bass player to go out there and make sure everything sounds good, and I'll sing and play.
Right.
And
wow.
I just have to play. I miss playing my bass. I miss playing guitar. I miss all that stuff, and I never get to do it anymore. So, whenever I get the opportunity, the guys let me kind of noodle around. They're kind enough to let me pick up the bass and jam a little bit.
Old man. You're probably the youngest in the band.
No. I'm the second oldest. I'm the second
really?
oldest.
I met your drummer.
Yeah. Kevin just turned 60.
Okay.
I'll be 50. I'll be 50 in May. And
you're 6 months older than me.
How old is Phil?
Right, and then the bass player's 30. The Angus is 28, and the drummer is 26.
Well, you all look 70, motherfucker.
And we feel 80.
Yeah.
I bet at the end of the night you do.
That's crazy.
Let me ask you this, because I'm wondering, and I apologize. You do both eras of AC/DC, correct?
Correct. We do Bon and Brian.
Yeah,
we do Bon and Brian. Yeah.
And I don't want to piss off your fans or make you. If you don't want to answer this, which one do you prefer singing, Bon or Brian?
Well, I love them both. I mean, so it's
don't get all sappy on me. You got to have one.
I can tell you how much we all know that Bon was the man. We all know that. We all know that.
No,
but,
it's foundations of it all.
Right, exactly. You nailed it. But I will tell you this. Bon Scott is way easier to sing than Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson is a freaking force of nature.
Oh, yeah.
And how he, my goodness, God bless him and everything he's done. And I know it because I got to do it every night. And it's son of a bitch.
You're answering my question already, because I was to say which one's easier, and you already answered it. But we did have a conversation around Halloween a couple years ago, and we were talking about how hard it was for you to do, because when when you're just talking to the crowd, and then when you're singing Bon Scott, and then when you start singing Brian Johnson, you could never find that level. And I gave you a suggestion.
Right.
Have you taken me up on that suggestion?
What I did was I went and bought a really, really, really nice microphone. And it's a Sennheiser Neumann, and it's like a $2,000 mic, and it picks up every little nuance and everything that I do. You got one?
No, Scott, that's what I suggested to you, and I will give it to you.
Okay, I'll take it.
What
is it? A Behringer? It's a Behringer, isn't it?
But what is it for?
It's what we used in radio. So if you talk softly, it would be at the same level no matter what.
I know, but
it's like it's a compressor limiter, but it's actually for microphones only. It's not a compressor limiter like you would use for guitar.
I understand, but that's a different a Neumann, a $2,000 Neumann, AK or what is it? What is it again, Dave? Sennheiser.
Yeah.
I mean that's like one of those Celine Dion mics. You know what I mean?
This will make you the same level all the time.
Scott, it's not about the level; it's about the tone of the instrument.
Right.
So you can learn how to hear the nuances of everything you're doing, so you can be in complete control of.
You're exactly right, Frank. You nailed it. I can hear everything I'm doing and the power that I'm pushing with, and the way I'm projecting in that microphone.
And don't get me wrong, you sound fucking great. But you were talking about how you were struggling between the two levels, and that piece of equipment would make it. That's what we used in radio stations. I mean, these USB mics that Frank and I have make us sound like radio guys.
I mean, but everybody uses compressors and stuff on their vocals.
Not really what I want. I don't want to compress it. It's basically to make
It's a compressor limiter.
But
it actually has a. I don't know. It
takes everything.
Radio station. Right. I stole it from the radio station.
A limiter just grabs everything and just kind of rounds off the corners. That's exactly what a limiter does. This is Technical Talk with Tim the Toolman Taylor. Thanks for tuning in to fucking Home Improvement. Scott's pulling out rat gear like, look at this.
We had a long conversation about this. He asked me. We had a long conversation about this. And first of all, I am the last person you should talk to, and the guy up there is the one you should be talking to. So don't ever fucking listen to me. That works for me.
I'll tell you this. That Neumann capsule on that Sennheiser is shockingly amazing. I mean, the difference in that, I've tried several different microphones. Of course, the tried and true 58, and then I did a Telefunken M80, which is pretty cool, actually.
Hold on, you can't say that. You can't say that on here.
Funk? Yeah, don't say funk. You could say fuck.
He said
say funk.
You can say You can't say Telefunken either.
I don't even know what that means.
It's a microphone brand, Telefunken.
but the Sennheiser was the one.
Yeah.
I like it too. Now, listen, I'm gonna, as it always happens when we do these podcasts. And do you have any time limits, Dave? I don't.
No.
We can talk. We can end up talking for 3 hours. We've done 2 hours. We've done.
Let's not go 3 hours.
I don't want to go 3 hours. But what always inevitably happens with me during a podcast, since, by the way, I've kind of quit drinking. I'm mostly sober. Let's leave it at that. I do all the podcasts
I'm
sober.
Sort of fat. I'm really sort of fat. It's just a slice of fat. Just
Frank's drinking Heineken. I'm drinking Heineken Zero.
Yeah.
If that tells you
those
anything.
are good. I do. Yeah. I drink those myself.
Yeah. For non-alcoholic, it's really good.
It tastes it fools my taste buds and my brain, and I'm fine with it.
But whatever you addicts say,
I just shut up. So that doesn't really matter. That doesn't count, right? As far as sober, that doesn't count at all. So what inevitably happens with, I don't know about you when you got sober or whatever, I apparently have to pee all the time. Right. I mean, like all the time. So I'm going to have to take a pee. So here's what we like to call our hot base talk with Frank and Dave. And I want to ask you this before I go pee, because I'm actually pinching it off right now. Because I know what Frank's amp is and I know what I like, but what is your favorite rig to play bass in?
Okay. So I'm endorsed by Galen Kruger.
But you've always played GK.
But you don't even play bass anymore.
But you
I know, right? I'm endorsed by Galen Kruger.
Yeah.
So I had the 2000 RB. But what I did one time was build a rig, and it was a Crown 2000 with a DBX 160A Harman and a Sans amp, and I ran it through two classic Ampeg 410s, and the rig was as tall as I was. But man, if you hit an A chord or an A, it would break your ribs. I mean, it was amazing.
It was. I bet that head was light. Was it one of those new lighter power amps?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's nothing worse at the end of the night. You know, you get used to an SVT or whatever, something that weighs a ton at the end of the night, and you pull it off the top one, and you go, everything gets worn out.
Like 80 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I would use a Spectre through it with the active EMGs. And my God, dude. It's like, that's Jesse about the Spectres. He'll tell you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the bass sound.
It is.
You know, people forgot about the whole PJ combo, and especially with Spectres. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now, is he still involved in those? Because he did some Steinberger stuff with Spectre.
Yeah. The NS Spectres are the Ned Steinberger basses.
Okay.
All right, so they got NS Spectres, and then they just got regular Spectres. Now the NS ones are typically American made.
Okay.
So we can go a whole nerd on this if you want.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. What's your favorite bass that you own? And
I just bought it. I bought it the day that Eddie Van Halen died, and I don't have it with me because I'm recording with it right now.
Right.
It's in Louisville, actually. But it is a matte electric blue with that beautiful that Spectre finish.
Yeah.
With the bowed body, and oh my God, it just sounds. It's like a tank.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful. Just the tone of it is. Everything about it's beautiful.
You just said it's back in Louisville.
Where
are you at right now with all that Pittsburgh Steeler and KISS stuff behind you?
Cincinnati, where I should be. I'm trying to save as many people as I can here in Cincinnati with all my Pittsburgh stuff.
Are you on the bus? Are you on your bus? I mean, physically.
No, he's been his home.
No, I'm in my basement, in my man cave.
He moved there. It's been a few years.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I've been here for about 8 years.
Dave was supposed to tell me to tell you that he was moving.
Shut the fuck up.
It's not. It's my.
Shut the fuck
I'll
up.
say it's my fault because I didn't tell you that he moved. So I slept on that one.
I'm not a big bass player. We'd had this conversation many times. I play bass like I play guitar. I thought it was easy. It's not. I get it now. And I have 2 bass amps. One was left in a practice that me and I don't want to say Liam Neeson because that's not correct, but I can't think of Liam's real last name.
Well, it's probably best you don't use anybody's fucking last name.
Wait, just because I have his old Gibson, he knows it. It's here if he wants it.
Yeah.
But then the other bass amp I got was from my man Frank Green. It's called a Black Beauty, but I like to call it the Black Widow.
Silent but Deadly? Was it silent? Yeah, okay.
Oh, it fucking thumps, dude. I mean, you can hear that. My neighbors can hear that son of a bitch, man. I love that fucking amp. I can't play it with a shit, but
now, Dave, going back to your club days, I mean, like when I say club days, I mean, 4 nights a week, whether it's hauling an acoustic guitar or whether it's setting up and playing 4 sets. How many, what is the best gig you've ever played in your mind that when you're said and done and you're laying in your Pittsburgh themed casket, hopefully with your head attached to your body,
with a helmet on,
right? Or they may have frozen you. Then you're a Renaissance man. So what? Right before you and all of a sudden your favorite gigs, up to this point, flashes in front of your face. What was it? So, of any?
Is it any gig?
Any gig.
Any gig. Well, there's several. I'll give you 3.
All right.
The top 3 would have to be.
You get 2.
I get 2. Okay.
Go ahead.
Top 3.
We got CBGB's was one. That was really cool just because of what it was. And it's just amazing to do that. It's just shocking how cool that was. And the second one would have to be the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. It's the last place Buddy Holly played before he died.
Oh.
And it's just an amazing place. If you get a chance, do a little recon on that.
Yeah.
Because it's badass.
My mother lived in Lake Mills, which is 15 miles away
from Clear Lake.
Right there in the upper central Iowa. Yeah.
I'm booking a plane right now.
Iowa, guys, it might be the rock and roll capital of America. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking.
The Quad Cities, you mean?
Yes, it's just amazing people that love their rock. I'm just telling you, just wonderful people. And I guess number 1 would have to be the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
So
wow,
that would have to be that.
Now, it just came to me. Would you kind of classify America, like the heart of American rock music is the Rust Belt? That's where the bands that all went crazy in America. That's where they built in, they had these audiences through the Rust Belt, whether it's in Iowa or Illinois, St. Louis, up through the Great Lakes and Ohio and Pennsylvania, the fucking Rust Belt. People went out to see music and entertainment because they worked their asses off all day in these places. So that's where they wanted fucking rock and roll the most because they're probably working hardest.
I'll say it right now. The more starved you are, the more you're going to eat. And they love that shit. I mean, with Frank and I, and we can all talk about different cities that had no rock scene. And you get a good rock band in town. We would go to Chattanooga and people would run out of the mall, the Brainerd Mall in Chattanooga, and ask for our autograph. And I'm like, but we're playing other people's music. What is wrong with you?
Right.
But there's no feeling in the world when they're just, oh my God, they're back. We're playing again. This is amazing. The more starved they are, the more they're going to eat. And I love that little corridor going. It basically is Tornado Alley.
Well,
good people, good salt of the earth people, good Americans. They're just 100%. Good people. Yeah.
And they consume they consume rock and roll that way.
Mm-hmm.
But the point I was getting was the Surf Ballroom. It's kind of those small places in the heartland or in the Rust Belt that are just like, yeah, it's amazing. The people who still today have thriving rock and roll scenes. It's weird.
Well, I tell you what, we played in Detroit, which I'm sure you've played Detroit many times with Ugly.
Yeah.
And that city left a scar on me. I loved it so much.
The greatest.
The first thing I saw when we walked in to play St. Andrews Hall there in Detroit was a girl with no bra on going to a Tigers game, and it said Detroit versus everyone, and that's all I needed to know.
Yeah,
that's all I needed to know. And I walked in, and we're playing the show, and we're in the middle of a sold out room in Detroit, and these people are no nonsense, man.
Absolutely.
This is real. This is a real rock and roll town. You better deliver the goods, man.
Hey,
you don't fuck with Wu-Tang.
When people in the back of the bar in Detroit stand there with their arms folded, it's because they're judging you on fucking rock and roll. They're not judging you on what pants you're wearing. They're judging if you are the real deal.
Yes, correct. You're exactly right, Frank. And whenever I was up there playing, I remember looking at them and going, listen, I said, I just want to tell you guys that all my life it's been a dream to play here in Detroit, and I just got to say it. And you guys, either it'll work or it won't. And I go, you got to lose your mind to Detroit. And the whole place went, Rock City! And I went, we're friends.
Yeah.
We're friends. Let's go. And then we kicked off, man. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Man, I love it.
It was awesome.
I never thought I would fall in love with something other than my own city's thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Being up there so much with Ugly, spending so much time playing so many gigs, it's like I learned. Just a different. It's a whole different level when Detroit does something. If one of their big bands came here, there would be 4,000 people in line to see them. It's like it's a proving ground for rock and roll.
I agree.
That brings me to a question, Frank, because you said, I think it was on the podcast last week, you had said you went to a place in Detroit. I would assume you were out there with Ugly and Kevin and the guys, and you saw some bass player, and you were like, oh my God, this guy's great.
I didn't say he was great. I said I love the way you play bass.
Yes, but it wasn't Bruce. It wasn't Bruce?
No.
Who was it? Do you remember the guy's name?
I don't remember the guy's name, and I don't remember with the band. But
I know It was date rape, for sure.
I know. When I watched him play bass, I went, that's how I like to see guys play bass. He wasn't like just grandpa-ing it, and he wasn't super meddling, but he had a way in his, a little aggression with the bass players are weird anyway. You see somebody playing really hard, and you're like, oh, you son of a bitch.
No.
I mean, I loved it. What he was doing professionally, I could care less. It sounded good, but man, he just had this attitude, and his hands were just right. And I'm like, God dang, that guy is a fucking pro. Right. Everything about it. Anyway, I just learned that these people are crazy starved for rock and roll, and it never goes away. And they're genuine. And when you feel like you made a friend in Detroit, I still have friends that I interact with almost daily from Detroit and the surrounding areas.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And it's just like, I've got friends for life that I made up there. And it's
really
Detroit
cool. Once.
And it's cool that it's cool that it was because I played music, that I met these people through playing music and a commonality and a bond.
That's the bond.
It's strange. I'm sure you have a lot of that going on in your life too.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And we just love traveling around and seeing our friends. Now they're friends. Now these people have become family. They show up and they get on our bus and they break bread with us and they're excited to see. They invite us to their homes. They take us in, man. It's amazing. It's amazing. And it's all over the United States. It's crazy.
It's go ahead, Frank.
It's nice to see your persistence in how you do business and how you live and how you operate professionally.
100%.
Has never taking an exit road. Oh, Dave Moody's shaky as hell. I don't know what he's got going on here. You've always
Parkinson.
Been. There you go. You've always been on the straight and narrow as far as moving towards this spot.
Right.
And
right.
then,
Well, I appreciate that.
And you've never wavered, and that doesn't happen that often. It really doesn't.
I always say, being you has gotten you this far. Be you, and I think all three of us, in one way or another, we're us. You are you, and I told you the last time I saw you face to face how proud I am of you.
Thank you.
And
by the way, I'm if you can't see me I'm rubbing your balls right now. I'm cupping.
I'm not. What I'm going to say next, I'm not going to say in a derogatory way, but Dave has, and I love Cam Fleener. Dave has assumed that level of professional respect, and this whole thing of what you do. I mean, Cam Fleener built this town for that kind of,
and he took care of all of us.
But he was the only one who went out and did it like he did it. And he taught a lot of people how to do it, and not many of them stuck to the plan. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you went to his house and you did his laundry, cupped his balls, whatever. But he was the level, he was the benchmark for our town and the circles that we ran in. And I think that you've earned your place in that kind of spot on the wall. And that's
very kind.
I don't want to feel like I'm kissing your butt, but I respect the hell out of that, because I know it takes a lot, and Scott knows it takes a lot. And anybody who's put a lot of time into music knows that it takes a lot more than just getting up, like you said, pulling out your shit from your hatchback and hooking it up. It's a whole lifestyle, and it's a whole plan, and it's awesome. I respect the hell out of that. I wish I was still be able to do that like every third day. I'm like, man, I wish I could be that guy.
You could be the best guitar player in the world and still have no career. Just ask Carlos Cavalas.
Well,
that's a deep pull, but
you mean Carlos Cavazo?
Whatever, I don't know his name. The guy that was Randy Rhoads' Quiet Ride.
Yeah, Carlos Cavazo.
Okay, so I'm not good at names or math or English.
Well, I thank both of you gentlemen for the kind words. It's it's like I tell everybody: if you want something bad enough, you'll just keep working. And those young men, the thing that makes me the happiest is to help young bands, because I am getting older. What? And I want somebody to pick this shit up.
78 years old, yo. He's a vampire. I'm telling you.
I want somebody to pick this shit up, and. Right. There's several young bands now coming up that we need to support. We need to help these kids out, because we're the old lions, right? So we got to help these kids, and we got to show them how to do it so they do it right and they carry it on. Because before there was a fire department, there was a
we bought their 20 cabinets.
Before there was Wayne Young, and he was in it wasn't Buster Brown. Was it Buster Brown? It was Buster Brown, and then before Buster Brown, there was a Midnight Special.
Midnight Special.
Yeah, Bobby Lance, Midnight Special, Fire Department, right?
Yeah.
And then the Pigs. Yeah. And then on and on and on. And everybody that I watched in those bands, I tell Alan Needham this all the time. I mean,
Alan.
I told Alan, he's the greatest. I told Alan, I said, the minute that I walked in the Toy Tiger and you were standing there on the left side of the stage just before you go to the bathroom, and you looked at me and you said, "Hey man, how you doing?" And he was like, he did all this shit, and I'm going, "What is?" And he's just smiling at me, and then he gives me 5. And I'm like, this guy's got no reason to give me 5. Right. He taught me that day how to treat people in that moment, like how to behave towards folks. And how to treat people that come watch you and welcome them into your show at your living room, and you welcome them to your house. And he taught me in that moment how to do that. And then I learned a lot from Cam, and I learned a lot from Stephen Perry.
Oh yeah.
And I learned, all those guys. And it's our responsibility now, as elder statesmen, I guess you can say.
Speak for yourself, there, vampire.
As elder statesmen of rock and roll, especially in our town, to foster these bands and help them out and give them opportunities. And that's what I try to do every time we have a show.
I'll tell you a funny story. Speaking of fire department, and first of all, I want to go one thing, and I'm going to tell you a funny story. You know, the difference, and again, Cam took care of us, gave us gigs, all of us gigs, got us taken care
Yep.
of. I love, and Cam can have whatever views he wants, but I love the I don't know if I love it, but I see the stark difference between your posts during the pandemic and getting gigs.
You're talking social media now.
Yeah, social media posts and your all social media posts between the two. And I'm friends with both of you, and I love both of you, and you all both have, and you're both, that's what you do for a living. You're trying to make a living, and not just you, but your families, your band members, your road crew, the people that are coming to the gigs, the people that are working in the bars. Everyone's, people don't understand that. You know, for what I do for a living, I can't get stuff across the border to sell. The guy that makes the glass, the guy that makes the label, everyone's impacted, and a lot of people don't know that. But the positivity that you show and the struggle that Cam shows, they're kind of the same, but I see what you both, if anyone wanted to know, we don't talk politics on the show, but if anyone wanted to see the bookends is you and Cam, and I love you both, and I thank you both for what you're both doing.
Well, thank you. And my job is to make you forget about all the things going on.
For a couple of hours.
My job is to make you feel good. My job is not to add on to your problems.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to do that.
Now
I'm not going to do that.
Here's the funny fire department story. We had bought some 20 cabinets. We basically, when our band, Frank and I, but before Frank was in the band, we basically made our own gear. That's how old school we were. We got we didn't even get specs. We just got we figured out how to make monitors. We figured out how to make this. And then at some point, somebody offered us some 20 cabinets. And the people that don't know, those are the big things with two 15s in them, and they got a big scoop.
You don't see them anymore.
Nope, and they come up with scoops, and that's what makes you fill up any room you're in. If you got 20 cabinets, it's going to fill the damn room with sound. And I remember Perry Scroggins, who actually won the lottery twice. That's not a joke. He walked up to a Whatever Will gig and went, "Those are my 20 cabinets." And I'm like, how the fuck would you know that? He goes, "See that bubble on the scoop? I'm the one that put the foam in there and made that mistake." And I was like, holy shit, you know about the bubble in the scoop? Perry Scroggins.
The bubble in the scoop.
The bubble in the scoop. He was the drummer for fire department. And then 10 years later, we almost came to blows at the Toy Tiger Bikini Contest on the rooftop of the parking lot of what it is now a Thornton's and a Motel 6.
Everybody loves Scott. Everybody gets along with Scott like that.
I did what Dave did. I was managing the band. It started raining. We were going to get electrocuted. And I was like, nah, man, we got to, in our contract, it says, act of God, rain or shine, but act of God. It's raining. You want to kill everybody here? We got 220 running through all this gear, and it's raining. He's like, keep going. I'm like, nah.
And you know what Dave would have done? Dave would have kept going. Dave would like, are you signing that check? Yes, sir. I'm going to keep on playing.
I think it was Frank that convinced us all to keep going, by the way. So fuck you, Frank. We finished the show, but he was being a dick about it. Yeah. And it's pouring down raining with all my equipment. I was like, it's about.
Yeah, Scott, I wasn't there. I don't remember anything about it.
You were 100% there, and I remember this. And now I think that was the night
that I'm just comparing my memory with your memory, so I'm just going to.
My memories are not really good. I used to drink a lot and do other things.
So, yeah. It wasn't nearly as aggressive like that. I mean, what do you want us to do, man? I mean, it's raining on us. Keep playing. Well, yeah, got to keep playing. That's about how it went.
I'm gonna beat up a fool and told me them lies. Yeah. Let me ask you a question, because this is another funny story that I'm gonna interject myself to, which I love to do, and Frank hates. I gave up, and I said this to somebody asking about. I go RVing every weekend. I'm used to being on the road.
Everybody's taking a smoke break.
Pretty much. They're like, all right, Scott's talking. Let's go. So we'd take an RV trip somewhere with the family, the in-laws. The whole family goes somewhere every year. And I gave them Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge / Branson. You know where this is going. If I got New Orleans the next year. So I went to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, which I always call, it's like Myrtle Beach without a beach.
All right.
And my alternative was Branson. And of course, I'm pushing for Branson because you had just signed, a residency in Branson with Thunderstruck. And then I was like, hey, man, we're going to come. You're like, cancel your plans, man. First of all, how did you get Branson? And then how did you get the news? Because I think you all went there for a week or two. And then the whole
that's an interesting story. That was when COVID hit, we was in the middle, we had bills to pay. We had shit we had to do, and we had to work. And it wasn't like we were setting up and putting people in danger or anything. We was doing what we was allowed to do.
Yeah, of course.
Within the confines of what anybody was going to allow us to do. If the local government said it was okay, then who are we? We're just a band, so we went and played. Right. But we got an opportunity in Branson. And I say opportunity loosely because the guy that was running it was an interesting cat. On the level,
hold on loosely.
On the surface, it was all good, but I could tell you that I would have never taken this gig in normal times for Thunderstruck. I would have never done it. But we showed up, and I made him pay me in full for the gigs.
We'll take that up front, please.
Yeah. I need all the money up front. Well, he gave me all of it but one show, and he gave me all of it but one show, and he said, "I'll give that one to you the night of the first week, and then after that, we'll pay you every beginning of every week." I said, "That's fine." So we get to the last night of the week, and it's been an interesting week because, well, COVID. I mean, it was.
Who knew?
I mean, COVID. People are scared to death. And it just is what it is. But it's socially distanced and it's sanitized and whatever. It doesn't matter. But nobody was really coming. I mean, it was probably about 200 people in a 1,500 cap room. And so we're getting ready to go on, and I call him up and I say, "Hey man, I need to get the pay for the last show." He goes, "I'll give it to you after the show." I go, "No, you'll kind of give it to me now, or we're not going on." Well, it ended up being that he didn't have the money, and there was the biggest crowd that we had, and it was probably about 400 people. And I looked at the band and I said, "Guys, I know what we should do, but I can't do that to those people out there. I can't."
It's not their problem.
They didn't do this to us.
It's going to look bad on you either way.
Right.
No. Well, no.
So we went out.
That's how you handle it.
We went out and played the show, and then right after the show was over, the guy didn't have the money, and he skipped. So.
And then hand jobs from David the rest of the week for the whole band. I owe you guys, man. Sorry about that.
Double cocking.
Needless to say, you got to be a true motherfucker to take advantage of somebody in the middle of a pandemic.
And it's funny. I saw
but how you handle it?
Yeah, and I saw your pictures on Facebook, and I saw, because you're doing a residency in Branson. I expect it to be amazing. I'm booking my family to go to Branson. I'm like, you don't understand. I get backstage passes. I might get on stage. But they didn't give a shit about that. But I'm going, they want to go somewhere like that. I might finally go to someplace so they can do their thing. I'm going to go hang out with Dave Moody and the band. Right. And then I saw your hotel room and I was like, isn't that where Martin Luther King got shot?
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And
I saw Jesse Jackson pointing. I was like, that's where he got shot.
But here's the thing: if it was Scott,
it was bad. It was bad accommodation. I was like
Motel 6, motherfucker.
I was like, "Holy!"
Please make fun of me, Frank. What were you going to say?
I'm trying to let Dave talk.
No, there's no point in that.
But it was bad. But you know what? I mean, it's like I told the guys, we did what we had to do to get through it. There was a lot of you got to understand, my guys, we busted our ass for 5 years
to
get to a point to where they didn't have to work. Here's a true story. My guys busted their ass for 5 years so they could quit their job. They were coming home on a Monday morning and going to work and working all week and leaving on a Thursday, playing Friday and Saturday, driving home Sunday morning to drop them off at work so they could operate a forklift.
I think we've all done that.
Right. So we had a plan, of working up to the point to where, hey, I'm making this much money and then I'm going to quit my job. Well, the plan worked perfectly. We was killing it. Everybody was doing great. They got to January of last year and quit their jobs.
That's great. Oh, wow.
God, that's amazing.
Scott, it's not amazing. They quit right at the pandemic.
Oh,
right.
Boo. Ba, 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 ba.
Exactly. So it was horrible. I mean, it was horrible. And so I was just like sitting here going, are you kidding me? It's just shocking. So we just had to pivot, man, and we had to do what we had to do. And we still ended up getting 60 gigs last year, which is shocking in itself.
Now, how much did you gigolo on the side?
A lot.
Double cocking. We're double cocking again.
No, he's open to all sexes now. As the pandemic. Whatever. He's the bills.
220, 221, whatever it takes.
I'm still gigoloing if anybody's listening.
Wow. All right, now let's go from the height of respect that we built Dave up to earlier. Dave, tell me about the night that I saw the mic stands flying in the Phoenix Hill Tavern.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, my God.
You can do it without names. You can just say the singer. I want to hear it because I walked in halfway through it.
Well, it was one of those nights. Let's just say that it was one of those nights where some of us were more inebriated than others.
Yeah.
And some of us forgot where they were at.
Yeah.
And some of us forgot that they were in front of an audience that we were supposed to entertain.
Right.
And some of us got offended by something that there was nothing to get offended over.
Right. And
some of us threw a microphone at a fan. And I'm like,
what? Yeah. Yeah.
What do you do there?
Yeah.
You just shake your head and just. I've seen it all, man. I've seen it all. I've seen it all.
I tell you, man.
And there's still things that surprise me. There's still things. It is.
It's like, okay. And every once in a while, it's something mundane, and you'll go, what? And where the fuck did that come from? It's somebody's new tendency or something like this weird jag someone goes off on. You're like, man, is that guy, do we need to put that guy away?
It's just, I'm guilty of, when I was drinking, man, I laugh and joke and tell everybody all the time, I'm surprised there's anything left. I'm surprised Frank still has a beer to drink.
But you get used to running especially when you're partying and stuff, whatever people's parties, different the way they party. You kind of get into this and it becomes a weekly thing. You're like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hey, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hey. And it's just, you're like, man, this is getting old. And you look up and it's 20 weeks later and you're like, fuck, I've drank a lot and I've played a lot and I got nothing to show for it. but a bunch of headaches, and a bunch of nasty texts.
Right. But I'm just as guilty as the next person.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
Doing stupid stuff.
Right.
I'm just as guilty. So, but I owned it, and it's live music and it happens. So, unfortunately, sometimes you get to watch it happen, and sometimes you're part of it when it happens.
Yeah. I understand. I was on stage with a friend, a mutual friend of ours, and it was like some beach, like sand. They had like the dance floor, when they filled it with sand.
Yes.
It's like a beach
party weekend at Phoenix Hill Tavern.
Yeah, beach party weekend, and the drummer kind of went. At one point, his snare broke, and we were playing Roadhouse Blues, and I think he was drunk as hell, and he picked up his snare. He couldn't get the snare off the stand, and the mic, was clawed to it, and he picked it up, and he's like, you could see him back there while the band is going dun 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 dun, blah, blah. Roadhouse Blues, and you can see him just fighting. It's like he's got a hold of some like twisted steering wheel, and he's trying to get it out from the behind of his drums, and it's like catching on everything, and damn it! And he pulls it out of the snare thing, and he throws it with the mic claw still on it. He goes boom, 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 over by the steps.
It hit me on the way down.
And he was wearing a Speedo when he did it. A blue Speedo.
I remember this night. And he had the goggles.
It was hilarious.
He had the goggles.
Something I will take to my grave.
And he hit me with it. He hit me with it, as I remember.
Right. It's one of those things that even the guy, gets, he starts living his life different after that. That's like one story he doesn't mind telling from his partying days. It's like he'll still tell that story himself. So he's got a good sense of humor about it.
He does. And it's great. And I'm going to tell you something. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we try not to use names, and he wouldn't mind it, but I'm not going to do it. I was talking to him, and he was, his mom ran a certain club in Fern Creek, and he was an underage bouncer and door guy.
Right.
And now he runs a club that I do business with.
Okay.
And we were sitting down last week, and we were talking about bands, and he remembered our band and your band and everybody else, and we were talking, and I was like, I don't know. It's like, I think we might have him on the podcast one time, because he was started when he was apparently like 11. He was a big 11, by the way. But I said, what's the one band that you had the biggest problem with? And
locally?
He said, yeah, locally here in Louisville. And he said, Jefferson Tark Bus. And I'm like, wait a second. I know those guys. I've known them to be fun, and they, we all had our problems, but I can't believe you would find them the worst. The one band you couldn't depend on. And he was like, all I can tell you is this: we paid them a lot of money at this bar in Fern Creek, and in the middle of the show, he couldn't tell me which one. Somebody went out and got in a fight with their girlfriend and punched through the window of the car and couldn't play, and they had to find someone in the crowd to just come up and help them finish the night. And he said it was Jefferson Tark. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was guitar, bass, drums, whatever it was. I couldn't remember who. Do you remember that night? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just
it probably did.
I don't remember.
But when he said that, and I said, you're not going to believe he was on the podcast this week.
What's funny is that what's funny is that new video that's going around where the singer goes up to the drummer.
Hey, fuck you. It never use a cymbal stand. An active cymbal stand is a weapon. I mean, I've had more people post that on my Facebook. Scott Clark don't get out of time with Scott Clark. And I'm like, I'm not the singer.
I loved how he hit him with the cymbal. It was awesome.
I was like, he still got his ass beat. And that reminds me of another incident that I don't want to discuss with the same guy that Frank's talking about, who took me off my feet and taught me never touch a man when he's in a bad mood. Never punch a man in anger unless you're absolutely sure you can get away with it.
But I'm telling you, in Tark Bus, we are guilty of just about everything you can throw at us.
Everyone is.
That's the best. It's just a way of life. It really was. At some point, it's a way of life, and that's really cool. It's a great thing.
If that doesn't happen in your rock band, you're not a very good fucking rock band.
I told my nephew that. I looked at my nephew one time, and he was getting his band off the ground, and they were rehearsing. He goes, I want you to go over and help us out a little bit. And I go, okay, let me ask you guys a couple quick questions before we get started here. And I said, yeah, have you I looked at the drummer and I go, have you ever punched this guy in the face? And he goes, no. I said, have you ever banged his girlfriend? And no. Have y'all ever snorted coke off of a 78 Pinto? No. You ain't no fucking band. I said, y'all just keep playing.
And then
do something stupid.
The kid's like, Uncle Dave, I'm 11.
This is gonna be the one that we put that we actually do video of and put for our promo for this episode. Jesus Christ, that's perfect. By the way, I just have to ask you, where'd you get the Louis Farrakhan glass frames?
He gave them to me.
Brother Lewis. All right, Dave, we're going to do this thing on here we call a slang book. It's
Oh,
called
shit.
Okay.
We're going deep, son.
Do you remember slang books in school?
I do not.
It's where they would the girls or somebody would get 5 or 6 pieces of paper together and they'd staple, on the ends, and they'd write questions in them and they pass them around and you had to answer it. Like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite number? Are your parents still, are they divorced? Are they together? Shit like that, to where people, and the whole point of it was almost everyone had a picture a question that said, who do you have a crush on? And they were kind of like the mobile app, of our day. You just kind of go around and see who everyone has a crush on. And people kind of met up through that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So,
I do,
so you get like 40 people sign it, and all of a sudden it's like looking at your final test scores on the wall. Oh, okay. Oh, nobody mentioned me this time. So,
right.
So it's just a series of rapid fire questions, and you just, off the top of your head, I don't want to hear all your crazy stuff. Last time you cried?
Oh God. When my dog died in November.
Bubble or scoop?
Scoop.
Okay.
Wait, what the fuck does that mean? I don't even know what.
Earlier you said the scoop with the bubble and the scoop and the bubble and the scoop. Talking about the 20 cabinet?
Yeah.
Right.
I get it now. I'm sorry. It was my own joke.
Yeah. Wrangler or Lee?
Wrangler.
Okay. What's your pet peeve? Biggest?
Being late.
Weirdest number 2 location you've ever had?
Took a dump.
Number 2.
A strip club.
Why is that weird? We've all shat in the strip club after doing blow on a 78 Pinto.
It's probably the condition.
You should have seen the strip club.
Ooh.
Oh, geez. We've been over there.
All right. Love or hip hop?
Love.
Okay. Geddy Lee or Chip Adams?
Geddy Lee.
Oh, hang on now. I'm a friend of Chip Adams.
I don't care. You don't have to be a jerk.
Well, I still get it. I'm not being a jerk. Chip Adams, I know you're listening. I love you, buddy.
Packers or Patriots?
Packers.
Fuck you.
Out of 10 cats, I'm sorry, 2 out of 10 cats have extra toes. Two extra toes. How many do the other cats have?
2 out of 10 cats.
I don't even know how to answer this.
2 out of 10 cats have 2 extra toes. How many toes do the rest of the cats have?
Is this
A
a
lot.
math question?
Let me think. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80.
All right. Pork or chicken?
Pork or chicken? Chicken.
Oh, buddy, you're giving up sausage. This is a trick question.
Snare drum or bass drum?
Bass drum.
We've come to the end. We've got 2 more questions. Bad Bon or Bad Brian? Which would you rather sing?
Bad Bon.
Easier.
Advice to your younger self.
Stay in school. No, it would be stay the course because it's worth it.
No, if you give an answer like that, you've got to do the Popeil pocket fisherman that fucking Clinton used to do. You must stay or Bush. Stay the course.
Stay the course.
Stay the course.
Be worth it in the end.
And you get
Hang
it was
on.
Bush. I'm sorry. Stay the course. 1,000 points of light. That was Dana Carvey, right? 1,000 points of light. Stay the course.
I still got to give
Mission
Frank credit for
accomplished.
saying Papil because I knew the pocket fisherman, but he actually knew the name brand.
It was Ron Popeil.
I know, but
I know, but he made all the stuff on TV, like the Optograb. No, he didn't make the Optograb.
You'll go blind, son.
Oh, nice. These glasses. Damn these glasses.
Damn thee. I damn thee.
All right. Man, you did really good. Man, you just kind of fucking just rolled through those. Some people take
great episode, man.
Some people go on like they soliloquy, and I'm like, it's just a thing, man. Just tell me what's on your mind. Just give me the answer.
He rapid fired answered, and I love it.
I love it.
Jesus Christ, Dave Hall Moody. He is from
I appreciate you gentlemen having me out tonight. Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you for the time.
Oh, wait till we talk shit about you later. It's fine.
Oh, I'm sure it's coming. It's okay. There's a line down the street for that.
We've known each other a long time. Man, you're amazing. We love you very much. Anything to promote before we close out? And I do before we cup your balls one last time. Would you like to promote any shows coming up? Your website, Twitter, Facebook, anything? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we're going to Texas. Not that.
Hey, wait! You better not go to Texas. There's racism in Texas. I got off the plane with my medallion and shit. What's wrong? A black man can't have a suitcase?
Hold on, I'm gonna unmute. I'm gonna mute him.
He's muting me now.
We're playing a tour of Texas this week coming up, and we got 6-7 dates there, and we're playing really cool rooms, really cool venues, outside stuff. And if you're in Texas, we're at the Chop Shop in Roanoke on the 12th, Corpus Christi on the 13th, and then Rise Rooftop in Houston on the 14th, and then we're at Come and Take It in Austin on the 18th.
Wait, Come and Take It?
Yeah, Come and Take It. That's the name of the place.
What was the Fawcett Tavern already taken?
Yep, the Fawcett Tavern.
By the way, opening up is date rape.
Right.
And then Rail Yard 83 in Alamo, and then the Roundup Music Hall in Bourne, Texas. And but we're really excited about this year. There's a lot of dates. You could go to our calendar on Facebook and find it in the About section on our Facebook page. We'll probably do 120 shows this year. Everything's looking really good. Our calendar's already full for the year. So we're stoked about it. Very grateful, very thankful, very blessed.
Now you could probably spend a whole month and play Texas.
Yes, Florida.
But Texas is so big, and there's so many towns that, you could just do a month in Texas.
Texas is own country, man. Texas is its own country, its own religion, its own everything. It don't need nobody.
It's a whole
They're awesome down there. Just great people down there in Texas, man.
Absolutely.
And I tell you what offended them. I tell you what offended them more than anything that I ever said to just about anybody was, "Hey, you guys got In-N-Out Burger down here," and they just went like this. We got Whataburger.
Yeah, they're huge about that.
You don't like In-N-Out Burger? And they go,
no, they like Whataburger. No,
they
I've had it, and it's both of them suck. I hate to say that online, but
I'm an In-N-Out. Let me ask you, Frank, are you an In-N-Out guy or a Whataburger guy?
I think they taste exactly the same.
Really?
It's just meat. It's like going to Burger King and Hardee's. You go, oh, they taste different, or whatever. Wendy's, you're like, it's got its own taste. Once it's processed, I can't taste it anymore. I'm like, hamburger.
I've had them all. My sister-in-law lives in Dallas. When are you playing Dallas? Because I'm gonna make my sister-in-law on the guest list. You don't know that.
We are. That'd be fine. We're in Roanoke, and that's close to Dallas. So that's the Chop Shop Live on March 12th. If she wants to come, just text me your information, man. I'll take care of it.
I've gone to Dallas and saw many tribute bands with her. That's her favorite thing in the world. So I'll contact you up there and get a hold of that. That's fantastic.
Oh, we'll
and by the way, just for the record, I'm a Jack in the Box.
You're a Jack in the Box.
The closest we get to a Jack in the Box is like Nashville.
Nashville, yeah. Their breakfast blows my mind. Even with the little head bobbing thing. I had one of my back when people had antennas.
Yeah, me too.
And
forever.
And they got stolen, of course. I had one of those little arms that you put out the back of your trunk that I found on the ground at Phoenix Hill, put it in the back of my trunk. It was gone within a week. Someone just jerked it out and stole it.
Man, I stole this.
Man, how sad is it that we don't have Phoenix Hill Tavern anymore?
Hey, I tell you this.
It's crazy. I mean,
Frank,
it's just a void. It's like a big whirlpool of void.
All of our friends, Frank, I mean, everyone that was ever in our band, all called each other like the week after they demolished it. If you think Frank, Sean, Donnie, Jason, everyone called each other. Hey man, stop by there and stole a brick for you. Like, right. Oh, well, you keep your 4 bricks because I got 4 bricks and he's got 4 bricks and the other guy's got 4 bricks. I do have a brick from Phoenix Hill.
I know a lot of people who went by and took a piece home with them just because I think that a lot of us, and not just the people who played there or worked there, I think just people who came there had the right to go grab a brick and take it home with them as something to take of a memory from their life. I think everybody deserved to grab a brick from fucking Phoenix Hill.
I was looking for that bag of weed I hid in 1998.
You know, the best nights in there that I can remember when I wasn't playing were always the Pigs. It was always so great. Always a party. Always fun.
How do they fit all that shit in here?
It's just amazing. I mean, they had just an incredible show, and that's where again it goes back to what I said. I learned so many lessons from those guys on how to do those things. And you said it best, Frank, when you said, you know, a lot of people didn't, you know, they didn't pay attention to what somebody like that was doing as the blueprint. Yeah. And I mean that place, whenever they played, there was a line wrapped around the building, and I was just like, my God, this is the energy of that place. And I miss Frankie, and I miss Ben.
Oh God, I love those two.
And the staff there, and Patty, and
I mean, how many people are we all still friends with that worked there, played there, came there? I mean, that was in people that are listening to this nationwide. We actually have 13 plus states right now. The people around the country, Phoenix Hill Tavern was the place in Louisville, Kentucky where everyone, when any musician, including the three of us or anyone that we know, if you got home at a certain time from your gig in Madison or Indianapolis or Nashville, if you got home at a certain time,
is still open.
They're still fucking open. Let's go. We still got an hour and a half to go get a gin and tonic and have some shit. There was no Fireball back then. Somebody's playing and somebody's going to let us on stage and we're going to drink and have a good time.
It was the place where everybody went to unwind. It really was for a long time. And they could on like Sunday nights, especially, and they'd be open, you know, during the week, Wednesday, Thursday. You're like, you know,
it's still open till 2.
This could be my home bar. You know, you start feeling like that, and you're like, man, it's a big club.
Players closed at 12. Phoenix Hill still open till 2. Let's go to Phoenix Hill.
Yeah, I saw Jason Isbell a couple of years ago. He was playing at the amphitheater, in Iroquois Amphitheater. And he goes, man, my wife and I were driving around today, and we went down he said we went down to see Phoenix Hill because I wanted to show her this bar that I told her about that had 3 stages, and that, you know, the drive-by truckers played upstairs. He said, I wanted to show her this bar that had all these, he said it had like 1,000 stages on it. You know, with outside, there was like 1 or 2 stages, and there's 3 stages inside. And it was kind of like the Cannery in Nashville was. You just walk upstairs to a different
Mix Factory in Nashville.
Yeah. I mean, and the Cannery, it was kind of like Louisville was the Cannery. The Phoenix Hill was the Cannery.
And now it's a Waffle House.
Well, I mean, it's terrible, but you know, people like that, you make impressions on them with. It was the whole vibe of the bar. The bar vibrated. The best nights I've had playing music when I say connecting music, like, where you just feel yourself super exhale and it's like, everything's going to be cool, man. You know, all of a sudden you're in the moment, you've got a little bit of liquor in you, and you've got, you know, the vibe going, and you've got the crowd going, and it's like a wave back and forth. And you're like, I could do this all night. Phoenix Hill Tavern's the only bar, cover band place that I've ever felt like I could do this.
Over my fat head.
Yeah, I could do this all night here. You know what I mean?
We did, and we all did.
Well, it's just not about everybody. I'm saying me.
Right.
That's where you connect to it and you go, I'm doing this, and you see these scenes so much, and it's like, yeah, it kind of molds you who you are in different areas of your life. And I find that really cool. It's the only bar I can look back on and say things like that about. It really,
obviously we're coming to the end of the show, and I was getting ready to do all the things, and I'm waiting. And this happens on these podcasts that Frank and I do. Thank you again, Dave Moody, for doing this, and I'll do all the plugs
Very well.
in a second. But do you still have dreams about Phoenix Hill Tavern? I do.
Yeah. Well,
No.
I tell you what, some of my best nights of my life were spent in that place, along with the Toy Tiger. But I got to say, there was nights that were magical for Tark Bus when we actually reached a certain point where we were like the band.
yeah.
It was pretty spectacular, and that's very special in my memories. And I cannot tell you. I look back on all of that with great fondness, and for all the jokes and the funniness that we went through with Park Bus and the fights and the drinking and the laughing and the joking, I wouldn't trade none of it because
Never.
It was the best. It was the absolute best, and to this very day, me and Wendell and Steve and Chico. And Ronnie, we're still all brothers, and we make fun of each other all the time, and we laugh. And when we get together and do a show, it's nothing but brothers, and we have a great time. And
you all do the leg kick.
Oh, everybody does the leg kick. We can still do it. It's amazing. But we're very fortunate to have had that moment in time, and Phoenix Hill was a big deal. I will say this, that I don't blame them for taking the money and running.
Hell no.
But I understand that.
But Phoenix Hill was definitely a main artery, if not the heart of the nightlife in Louisville.
It was,
and they cut it out.
I mean, not just ramshackle cut it out. They went in and precision cut it. They're like, nope.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you this. One of my favorite nights that I ever had there was when I absolutely love Jimmy V. I would marry Jimmy V if he would marry me.
Mr. Vallandingham.
I love Jimmy, and I love John. And when they got up and played with us,
mm-hmm.
I thought that I was playing with Elvis and Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yes.
And I'm just sitting here going, this is cool as fuck. You know, don't get me wrong. The week before I was playing with Billy and we was on tour, but it was Jimmy V and Screaming John.
Right.
And I'm sitting here and I'm going, man, these guys are the shit. Right. And it was nights like that. Shit like that would happen all the time.
Some random guy showed up and played.
Yes.
And you're heroes, or the reason that we're doing what we're doing, it's happened all the time.
People don't want to get up and play with shitty cover bands. No, you know what I mean? I'm
going to sit over here and drink.
But I'm saying people don't want, hey, man, these guys are good. I'm going to go sit in with them. No, you don't go sit in with trash. You sit in with motherfuckers who bring it. And that's kind of the thing. That's when those moments happen. It's like, oh, okay.
Right.
You know, we're peers. You know, at that point, and it's kind of a turning point. You go, that's kind of cool. I'm not in the crowd, but they let me in this place.
Yeah,
Frank, you asked him earlier what's your favorite gig you've ever done, and it goes back to Phoenix Hill Tavern. It was on a certain person's mom's funeral night, and Jimmy and Screaming John were in the crowd, and we did something special.
Killed her.
That we
killed his mom.
I personally take responsibility for killing his mom.
Okay.
That night. But if you ever bring that question up again, that is going to be my answer. And I don't want to get into all that. But goddamn, Dave Moody, I knew this was going to be amazing, and I can't thank you enough for joining us. Have you had a good time?
I have, and I want to thank you both. And I want to leave. With the way I always leave, which is, you know, it don't cost a damn thing to be nice to somebody. And maybe if we were all, you know, maybe if we all just picked each other up instead of knocking each other down. And maybe if we was a little bit kinder to each other, we could get through all this shit. And I firmly believe that if you're positive and you're kind and you're nice, then that shit reflects, and somebody's going to grab a hold of that vine, even if it's one person, and they're going to carry it a little bit further. So just be nice to each other. It really is all it takes.
You know, Dave,
Can't leave. All the plants will die.
You know, Dave, you're an inspiration. I'm going to start a paper route.
You know what? I'm gonna start a negative blog about you. Fuck Dave Moody. It's Dave Moody. It's Dave Moody from America's ACD Thunderstruck.
Hey, well, one last thing.
Oh no, I got another thing after that. Go ahead. This is why I asked you if you had time.
Yeah, no more laptops. Everybody do their music live.
Yes.
No more pumped in vocals, no more backing tracks. Please, just do it live.
Yeah.
Just do it live.
All right, before I finish up, I've got all this stuff written down. Would you let me finish? But let me say this.
Sure.
Did you know that there's a Thunderstruck drinking game?
Yes, I do.
All right, everybody,
Yes,
look that up. I'm going to leave you all with that. Look it up. Dave Moody, our close personal friend. He's from America's AC/DC Thunderstruck. Look it up on Facebook, internet, Spotify, QAnon. I don't give a shit what it is. It's not hard to find. They are badass motherfuckers. If you get a chance to see them anywhere, go see them. If you like AC/DC, you will love Thunderstruck. That is all there is to say. Thank you, Dave Moody, for joining us for on It's Gonna Get Weird. You want to get a hold of Frank and I, it's very easy. It's Gonna Get Weird 369 at Gmail, at Get Weird PC on Twitter. We're available on Facebook. We're available on, God damn it, we're on everything. Just look the shit up. It's Gonna Get Weird. Dave Moody, I fucking love
Thank you. Hey, Frankie, thank you.
Thank you for coming. It's been a great time. It's been an honor.
Thank you. And you guys be safe. And it's always good to talk to you all. Thank you. I hope to see you all at the show.
Frank Green, Scott Clark, It's Gonna Get Weird. Good.
Goosh.